Hello and welcome. You are watching Talk to Addis program, which comes to you out of this hour. Today we are located in House of People's Representatives Hall with Honorable Deputy Chairperson Dr. Fatih Mahadi of Standing Committee for Foreign Relations and Peace Affairs and Honorable Mogga Abba Bulgu of Member of the Standing Committee for Foreign Relations and Peace Affairs to stay with us. Honorable esteemed guests, I would like to say welcome to our program.
Thank you very much.
I feel very much honored to have you as my guests. Okay, to begin with, let me give you the chance first to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Fatih Mahdi. I'm the Vice Chairperson for Foreign Relations and the Peace Affairs Standing Committee in Federal Parliament. That's all I can say.
I am Mogga Bulgu. I'm a member of the Foreign Relations and Peace Standing Committee.
Good. Okay, once again, I would like to say welcome. So let's dive to the questions. The first one, how has Ethiopian foreign policy adapted to support its goals of economic growth, security, and regional stability? And how has it balanced global engagement with internal stability and a commitment to international neutrality? Let me begin from you, Doctor.
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you for having us in your program. We will have a very good discussion, I hope. Also, I would like to forward my greeting to your viewers. Mr. Alula, as you have mentioned, that Ethiopian foreign policy has undergone several revolutions or changes in the past few years, especially after His Excellency Prime Minister Abiy came to power. The foreign policy has undergone into several changes or evolutions, we can say. To mention few of them, because due to time limit we cannot mention all of them, but some of the most important and the critical points that I can mention are that there is a shift to accelerate the economy, to bring economic development. The first one is that. The second one is to focus or give due emphasis for national security. And the third one can be grouped into bringing regional integration. So these are the major ones that the foreign policy has focused in the past few years. And there is a progress, and it became very dynamic, pragmatic changes, more to giving priority to national interest of the country. Having said this, let us look at them one by one. For example, if we say the first one is to bring economic development to the country, the foreign policy started to focus on the economy of the country, to improve the livelihood of the citizens and to bring a change in the economy. So one of the major shifts of the foreign policy is focusing on economic development, and the economic diplomacy has become one of the major pillars of foreign policy. What are some of these points? For example, if we can mention, it's attracting foreign direct investment is one of the major focus. Another one is finding or establishing a market for our products abroad, for export market. Another one is, for example, focus on knowledge and the technology transfer, attracting to the country, on artificial intelligence, digital technology that attracts foreigners who work on artificial intelligence and technology-based institutions, attracting this. Also, our diplomats or our missions abroad, they are completely giving very high emphasis and focus to promote the country in terms of growth, in terms of large existence of market, and also in terms of its infrastructure, in terms of rules and regulations that has been changed to attract foreigners, especially. These days, even the parliament has been passing several bills that attract many foreigners. So these are the major shifts in terms of economy. So economy is the core pillar of the diplomacy. these days. We can mention a lot. Another point is national security. National security is very priority for the country, and the foreign policy has been shifting this. For example, if we see, there were a lot of bilateral security agreements between Ethiopia and the neighboring countries. Even also, not only bilateral relation, also in several multilateral and peacekeeping missions in East Africa and across the whole world. Ethiopia has been engaging on this. If we can mention on Ethiopia's engagement on ATMIS, for example, and also post-ATMIS, Ethiopia still remains one of the most important troop contributing country for national security. So, for example, if we see Ethiopia's foreign policy focuses on regional stability, and also it gives high priority for neighboring countries' peace. There is a saying in Oromifa, if your neighbor doesn't have a peace, you yourself will not have a peace. So Ethiopia also, as it has been mentioned on Ethiopia's foreign policy, Ethiopian foreign policy gives a due emphasis to neighbors. So when neighbors have their peace, before conflicts or before security threats cross the border of Ethiopia, Ethiopia proactively engaged in peacekeeping of neighboring countries. For example, if you see our Prime Minister, His Excellency Abiy Ahmed, he went to Port Sudan even to meet with leaders of the country and to bring peace, to mediate the issue. In South Sudan also. Still we are contributing, as I have mentioned, troops to Somalia. There are a lot of, why we do this? It's to keep the peace in Somalia, means the peace in Ethiopia. So national security is very important for our country, and we are working together with neighboring countries, and we have been following this as a foreign committee. We have been seeing the report of Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Relations, what they have been doing. They are reporting to us. So the other one is regional integration. So regional integration is one of the most core pillar of Ministry of Foreign Affairs or foreign policy focus. What do we mean by regional integration? Regional integration, we mean, to mention few of the examples, connecting the neighboring countries with Ethiopia with infrastructure. For example, we have road, railway, and other infrastructure connection between Ethiopia and the neighboring countries. We remember in recent, just a few months ago, we have ratified financing support for South Sudan for 220-kilometer road. Also electric supply to neighboring countries. Even there is agreement now between Ethiopia and some of 6 major cities of Kenya. So this is power interaction, economic integration, relationship. It is based on mutual cooperative framework to enhance interdependence. Not dependence, interdependence between the regions. So this is very important, regional integration in terms of economy, infrastructure, security, border issues, in terms of human trafficking, border crossing issues, smuggling of other issues, fighting terrorists, the peacekeeping missions. As I have mentioned, in terms of technology, in terms of human resource, for example, Ethiopia is a home for providing educational scholarship for almost 1,000 foreigners, neighboring countries, South Sudan and others. Here they are studying their education. So these all issues that I have mentioned, with few of them actually, the foreign relation is seriously engaged in bilateral and multilateral security agreements and enhancing the bilateral relation between the two countries, so that regional stability will come in terms of infrastructure, in terms of trade, in terms of knowledge sharing, in terms of border security, in terms of knowledge transfer, infrastructure building. There are a lot of agreements going with each country. That's all I can say.
Okay, Honorable
Thank you very much. Just to add some. In recent years, Ethiopian foreign policy has been transformed to more balanced approach. This balanced approach prioritizes economic development, peace and security, promoting peace and security, also navigating international neutrality. Just to say some in detail on economic development is a cornerstone for the national interest and the stability. So Ethiopia is working much, for example, on developing infrastructure and the connectivity between Ethiopia and the neighboring countries. Again, attracting foreign investment, promoting trade, so and so on. This all contributes much to defend Ethiopia's national interest and bring stability to our country. The second focus is, promoting peace and security. Peace in the country as well as in the resolution of border disputes, and bringing peace and security to the region is very important. And therefore, our diplomacy is focusing on this. The other very important point is Ethiopia is doing much on navigating the international neutrality. We are keeping our neutral stance. Neutral stance is very important for Ethiopia. Ethiopia is following pragmatic diplomatic approach in such a way that it contributes much to our national interest and internal stability. We are making our partnership with the neighboring countries, with the Gulf countries, with Asian countries, with Western countries, based on our neutral stance, because this neutral stance brings much benefit to our national interest and stability as a whole. Therefore, these are major focus areas of our foreign policy in recent years.
Ethiopia's foreign policy strictly focuses on cooperation and dialogue. It follows a strategy that will not side with superpowers. For example, the Western, the US, or any China or others. It will not side. It strictly follows non-aligned movement. But Ethiopia inherently always strives to follow and to fulfill national interest. But when it does this, it is based on dialogue and cooperation and negotiation. It is not aligning or siding with any superpower blocs. This has been a very important and critical balanced approach movement that Ethiopia has been following for the past several years, especially in the past few years. It is strict that you have to balance the diplomatic efforts, and the non-aligned movement is the principle. So in terms of this, if we see, it is based on dialogue, cooperation, negotiation, and the discussions, which are important. That's why Ethiopia has been again selected in AU Peace and Security Council, if you remember, in the last, Ethiopia has been selected. Why? Because this has an effect, even though there are so many reasons, because Ethiopia is neutral. This has been manifested for the past several years, and this is very critical. And as you know, Ethiopia has a very long legacy in diplomacy. If we see the League of Nations, Ethiopia is one of the members. United Nations, it is a founding member. OAU, the former, now Organization of African Union, now AU is a founding member. It's a seat for AU here at Addis Ababa. So this all give diplomatic leverage for Ethiopia. So based on this, also Ethiopia is one of the major source of freedom for black people, Pan-Africanism. It's here, it is where it is born, Pan-Africanism. So all this diplomatic leverage Ethiopia to play a prominent feature, a prominent leadership role in the region, I can say, to bring stability and peace by following a balanced approach. Also, all the diplomatic efforts that Ethiopia has been doing on its foreign policy has effect on internal stability and the politics of the country. Even, the diaspora engagement, all the diaspora, citizens abroad, is a very special focus and attention is given to this. Consulars abroad are giving and priority to effectively respond to the needs, problems of diaspora engagement. This in turn has impact on the country's internal stability and the politics again.
Let's embark on this one and have an in-depth kind of analysis. What role does our country aim to play in shaping the future of the Horn of Africa? Because as far as given the fact that Ethiopia has a very rich culture of regional stability or securing regional stability, so what diplomatic strategies are being employed as to sustain such kind of activities with neighboring countries like Kenya, Sudan, and others too?
Ethiopia's foreign policy. Ethiopia's foreign policy these days, as I have mentioned already stated in foreign policy, it is focusing on giving priority to neighboring countries. Ethiopia positions itself as anchor of peace and stability and anchor of regional integration in the Horn of Africa. Ethiopia positions itself as committed to peace in the Horn of Africa. Ethiopia considers itself as a major role player for regional integrity. We can say this because Ethiopia has been engaged, as I have already mentioned, on regional integration, economic development, and peace, bringing peace to the region through bilateral relations, mainly with each country, and also in participating in multilateral, regional and international peacekeeping initiatives, actively participating in these organizations. For example, regional organization, we have IGAD, as you know. IGAD, Ethiopia is a founding member and actively engaging in IGAD and other African Union, AU, and other regional and international, even in the United Nations, is actively engaging. So when we see this bilateral relation between the two countries in terms of security, in terms of trade, in terms of agreement, it is getting better and improved. For example, if you see the relation with Kenya, it is based on ministerial commission level agreements, prime minister or higher official visits. Ministerial commissions are always actively engaging to bring trade cross-bordering trade agreements with Kenya, because we have a lot to share with Kenya. Also, port agreements, possible port agreements with Kenya. Also, cooperation and fighting with terrorism, counter-fighting terrorists. There are a lot of agreements. Even there are free people movement between Ethiopia and Kenya. LabSet project corridor is also another thing. Road facility, electricity, as I have mentioned, to provide electricity for six cities in Kenya. So this is a very strong intercultural, political, economical, historical linkage between Ethiopia and Kenya, and this has been shown to get improved through time. Also, ministerial level commission, as I have mentioned, higher official visits. Even prime ministers have been visiting the two countries. There are a lot of agreements that I cannot mention, cooperative agreements between Ethiopia and Kenya in terms of infrastructure, everything. So this is very important, because Ethiopia considers itself as, as I have mentioned, as a role model, as to bring regional coordination, to connect as a responsible, committed partner in the Horn of Africa to bring this peace.
Ethiopia is a great country in the Horn of Africa, and she has to play strong and leading role in the Horn of Africa. For example, this leading role can be regional integration and cooperation. We have to play strong regional integration and cooperation role. For example, economic, it can be economic integration, which is very important by enhancing infrastructural development between Ethiopia and the different neighboring countries. Economic integration can be enhanced. For example, participation in the IGAD, as it has been said, it is very important for Ethiopia to strongly involve in water management, because we have transboundary natural resources like Nile, Abba River. So this area are very important for Ethiopia to play an important role in the Horn of Africa. The other important role that is expected from Ethiopia, the leading role, is conflict resolution and peacekeeping, which is very important, both for Ethiopia and for the region as a whole. As it has been said earlier, if the neighbor is not peaceful, the home is not peaceful. Therefore, involving a critical and a leading role for Ethiopia in peacekeeping and conflict resolution is very important. Ethiopia is doing much, like in Sudan, in conflict resolution, in Somalia, and so on. She is playing a strong role in that. And this role will bring Ethiopia, it makes Ethiopia very strong. Thereby, it will contribute to defend her national interest and stability as a whole. And also, economic development and cooperation are very important. For example, attracting the investors, foreign investors, and promoting trade to Ethiopia are also very important for Ethiopia's benefits, diplomatic benefits, and so on. These are very, very important areas where Ethiopia has to play a leading role. And these are some of them.
Good. Let's move on to the key development reforms, specifically diplomatic reforms that Ethiopia has implemented in recent years. To what extent do they prioritize the national interest of the country? And as well, those reforms, what impact have they brought up in sustaining the peacekeeping role that Ethiopia has been known for? Let's talk about those diplomatic reforms and vis-a-vis their achievements.
Okay. Yeah, when we say diplomatic reform, there are a lot of reforms, but this diplomatic reform initially comes from where? From Ministry of Foreign Relations, institutional reform. That is the base. So to bring impact on foreign diplomacy, the Ministry of Foreign Relations itself has undergone into several reform activities has conducted. We have been following as a Foreign Relations and a Peace Standing Committee. Our committee has been receiving reports, have been evaluating, and also we have been conducting oversight. And we have seen by ourselves, we have checked that there are a lot of reforms undergoing, institutional reforms. What are these institutional reforms? Because there are a lot of institutional reforms that has been conducted. I cannot mention all of them, but what I can mention is only some of them. The first one is development of institutional capacity. The second one is optimizing resource utilization. And the third one is enhancing efficiency, effectiveness of foreign relations services. These are the core reform agendas. Why they are conducting this? These all reform agendas are aimed at enhancing to achieve national interest of the country. In all activities of foreign affairs activities, these issues are given a due emphasis. For example, as I have mentioned, institutional capacity building, it has a lot of activities under it. This is one of the major goals. Also, the second one, resource utilization, optimizing resource utilization, it has a lot of activities inside it. Providing effective, efficient service, foreign affairs services, it has a lot of activities inside it. These are the major pillars. For example, if you see the first one, capacity development, if I can mention a few of them, human resource development and training of diplomats, for example, is very important. There is a very big shift in this area. Diplomats are joining the institution based on clearly stipulated criteria, which were not open and free prior to the reform. anyone who is interested all over Ethiopia who fulfills the criteria I cannot mention it here. There is clear, visible criteria that those who want to become a diplomat, they have a time to apply, they have to pass the criteria, and if they pass, they will be given extensive training on diplomacy, technical knowledge-based training, extensive. Then based on that, they will have exams, and their post will be based on merit. So the human resource development has shifted totally. Another one is using technology for diplomacy. Digital diplomacy is in place. Using ICT, knowledge-based decision-making has been in place nowadays. So these are some of the few that I can mention. Another one is providing continuous and specialized skills and the training for diplomats, as I have mentioned, and also attracting new, active, interested diplomats. And even the structure of consular services abroad have been capacitated to give effective and efficient service for the diaspora, for citizens abroad who are in need for, during danger time, for example, during evacuation times, to hear them, to organize them, all the diaspora abroad, to listen to their problems, and to give effective and efficient and urgent professional service to the diaspora abroad and the citizens abroad. This has been a lot of change on this area.
Yeah, maybe you can mention in this regard, many Ethiopian illegal migrants have been returned peacefully.
Yeah. A lot of, that's a part of the diplomacy, because, there are a lot of still Ethiopians remaining abroad, which are some of them maybe in prison, some of them who are not legally working, some of them who want to return but they cannot. But all this, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have been communicating with respective countries like Saudi Arabia and Gulf states to take care of our citizens. Those who are not legal, to make them into legal. Those who want to return, facilitate activities like, taking them out of prison and to bring them back to their home. It has been facilitating a lot, and several citizens were brought here, which otherwise could have been suffering a lot in a foreign country, which is not giving priority for citizens. So diaspora engagement is also very important. The diaspora has been engaging, first generation, second generation, third generation, invitation by our Prime Minister, His Excellency. Following that, there are a lot of diaspora coming to the country to visit, to invest, to engage in Ethiopian affairs positively. So these are a lot of activities going on. This has been the major impacts that the reform has brought. So to mention some of the impacts that this reform has brought, for example, if we see Ethiopia joined BRICS, this is not an easy matter. It is because of the diplomacy. It has a lot of struggle and hurdles. It's after BRICS plus the first joining country is Ethiopia. So this is an example. Also, attracting foreign, for example, direct investment in East Africa. Ethiopia is still top one. How does this come? This is because of our diplomatic missions effort, because of this reform, because of this restructuring, because of this detailed work that this foreign direct investment is top increasing. In East Africa, we are number one still. Another point is that we can mention that Ethiopia still remains the top troop contributing in East Africa still, in ATMIS or post-ATMIS. We are still the top one. African solutions for African problems. We are still part of several institutions. We are actively engaged in IGAD. So these are some of the few impacts that the reform has brought that I can mention, but there are still a lot that we can mention. Even to raise the issue of port, that we maybe access to seaport, that we will discuss maybe later in details if you want. Even raising the issue itself is one of the achievements. Previously Ethiopia's foreign policy was submissive, only reactive, but now it is assertive. It has changed to assertiveness. It is proactive, and it is bringing impact. Even already I have mentioned, Ethiopia is already elected by majority vote, AU Peace and Security Council member still. So the BRICS issue, also in the climate change, we can discuss a lot about that. Its impact, bringing impact in climate change, fighting the climate impact. Also in infrastructure, as I have mentioned, Ethiopia's commitment to peace, regional stability, and Ethiopia's participation in regional and multilateral organization is still increasing. Ethiopia's dominance, I mean, when I say dominance, Ethiopia's influence, diplomatic influence, is reaching a lot. So this all that I have mentioned and those that I have not mentioned are all due to economic, diplomatic reforms.
Yeah, Honorable Mr. Morgan, maybe if there is something to be said in this regard, the diplomatic reforms which have been not yet mentioned by Honorable Dr. Fatima.
Actually, it has been discussed by him. There are so many diplomatic reforms as it is expressed by him. The first one is the diplomatic reform starts from institutional reform. There are so many reforms in our Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There are human development, their training has been given, human development, so and so on, has been strengthened, information communication system has been changed, planning and monitoring system has been changed. As a whole, the economic diplomacy has been changed, and there are so many impacts as it has been expressed by him. We are seeing different impacts, like involving in the BRICS and so on. So there are different reforms and different impacts have been seen, just to add some almost.